We're going to begin the program by telling you that the S16 Film Festival, which has been holding at Alliance Francaise here in Nigeria, has proven to be an immersive experience for cinephiles who view cinema not just as entertainment, but as a profound art form. The festival aimed to inspire a subculture of art, film enthusiasts founded by three filmmakers, CJ Obias, Abati Makama, and Michael Omuwa, who sit at the forefront of a new wave of Nigerian cinema. Our dear colleague and Arise correspondent Adeswa Giwa Osage, who was there, brings you this report.
Nigeria's cinematic landscape is undergoing a profound transformation. A new wave of Nigerian cinema is emerging, challenging traditional Nollywood conventions and earning international acclaim. And at the forefront of this revolution is the S16 Film Festival. The festival, organized by the Surreal 16 Collective, serves as a platform promoting the voices of Africa indie filmmakers worldwide. A noteworthy entry is Mami Wata, directed by CJ Obasi, a founding member of the S16 Collective. Mami Wata in October of 2023 was selected as Nigeria's entry for Best International Film at the 96th Academy Awards.
Hi, my name is Adeswa Giwa Osage here in Lagos for Arise News, and I am here with
Abati Makama, S16 Collective, and filmmaker.
Hi, I'm Michael Omonuwa. I am a film director and screenwriter based here in Lagos, Nigeria, and one of the co-founders of the Surreal 16 Collective.
Hi, my name is CJ Obasi, and I'm the writer-director of Mami Wata and 1/3 of the Surreal 16 Collective.
And this is, I believe, the third?
This is our third edition. We started in 2021 at a small location. Well, not small, but like an old rustic location, which was the former Federal Printing Press. And we're here now at Alliance Francaise.
Fantastic. So a lot of growth in the last 3 years.
Yes.
So there are three founding members, correct?
Yes.
It's yourself and
CJ Obasi and Mike Omonwa.
Okay. And why did you guys found this collective?
Kinship. We were doing stuff that didn't fit the norm of mainstream Nigerian films, Nollywood. We were making films that had like a unique, singular cinematic vision from the eye of a director. And we are cinephiles. We're people who consume global cinema, world cinema, and the films we were making, they weren't doing well here locally, but we found ourselves in different corners of the world, from screening at Toronto Film Festival to doing workshops at Cannes to showing at Sundance, winning awards at Sundance, Berlinale. Like we've done almost all the top international film festivals, won prizes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so pretty much it's that kinship, that brought us together.
And do you think that people are paying more attention now to the type of art that you're making? The Oscar submission for Nigeria.
Mami Wata, yes.
Mami Wata is CJ Obasi's movie. So do you think that you're moving more into the mainstream, or you're being accepted more the type of...
I think the mainstream is paying attention because, for instance, Mami Wata was shot deliberately in black and white, and against all the odds, people told CJ he wouldn't be able to, the film wouldn't be successful if he shot it that way. And the moment it got announced at Sundance, like a few months later, we had some mainstream filmmakers who had like some black and white vignettes in their films and whatnot. So there's more mainstream filmmakers are trying to enter these spaces as well. We see them when we travel now.
So now you guys are the men of the hour.
We're doing what we are doing.
How does one get involved with your festival? Is this for younger filmmakers?
Our audience is primarily Gen Z because Gen Z, they're curious and they're experimental. So just like the work we're putting, it's very experimental. And from our very first festival, some of the films we programmed were coming from like the new bright minds in cinema. And maybe when Mike comes, he can elaborate more. They curated short film program
Yes.
at Switzerland this year with some of these young bright minds, so
Oh, so these young African minds, you curated a festival in Switzerland.
yes,
with their
yes,
films.
with their films, a Nigerian new wave section.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mike and CJ both did that at Winterthur, which is like one of the biggest short film festivals in Europe.
And were any of you invited to the round table by the Minister of Creative Economy? Do you think the Nigerian government is...
We're not yet on their radar, but they'll catch on.
Okay. I feel like Surreal 16, when I first saw it, I thought there were 16 of you. But
It's good. It's a good one.
but it's three filmmakers.
It's three guys, yeah.
You are the man of the hour. Mami Wata has been called a cinematic triumph. And your movie is Nigeria's official selection, right, for the Oscars.
For the Oscars, yeah.
How does that feel?
Oh, it feels fantastic. More especially because of the kind of films I make and the kind of collective I belong to. I think in many respects we're outliers in the industry, and so to have so-called outliers represented Nigeria, I think it speaks of the future of the Nigerian cinematic space.
Fair enough. Were you surprised?
I was surprised in that I didn't take it for granted that it would be given, because unfortunately we don't live in a meritocracy. But I knew I deserved it, so I would say I was surprised, because just because you deserve something doesn't mean you get it.
That is true. So Mami Wata has just been nominated for another award, I believe, the Spirit.
Yeah, the Independent Spirit Awards. Yeah, another first for Nigeria.
That's a first for Nigeria.
Yes.
But I think it's the only African nomination, I think, for this 2020.
In the features category, in the international features, yeah.
Okay, and this is the first nomination for Nigeria.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're breaking the ceiling.
Thank you. I mean, it's the way I look at it is we have so much potential as a country for stories, for different kinds of expression cinematically, and we've barely scratched the surface. For a country so diverse, with 200 million people, we've not even started as far as our filmmaking potential. So, I mean, it's nice to be the first, but it's really not. We've not scratched the surface again.
I think a lot of people agree with you there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask why you chose to tell the story that you did in Mami Wata, because there's a lot of tension in the film, I think, between the old ways and the new ways, and religious tensions, and I want to say maybe some gendered tensions, as well. Why did you choose to tell this particular story?
There are a few reasons, but I would say just the exploration of dichotomy, the idea that we live in a society that is so divided among several lines, what's good or bad, what's right or wrong, religion, old versus new, tradition versus modernity. It's really the society that we live in, and these are some of the questions that we have to ask ourselves, or that we daily ask ourselves as Africans, or as Nigerians specifically, living within the Nigerian society that we live in, and in a larger scale as Africans trying to fit in today's world. Who is an African in 2023? Who is a West African? And so these are questions that have been in the back of my mind. And I guess when I started working on Mami Wata, I realized that the idea or the belief system around Mami Wata organically had those questions, in of itself. And it was just a question of me finding the way in and the characters that would serve as archetypes to sort of represent these higher ideas.
Okay, fair enough. What do you see the S16 Film Festival's main role as, and where do you see yourself being positioned in terms of the future of Nigerian cinema?
That's a great question. I think what we are doing is so important and so crucial to the film space. There's a need, almost a desperation, for the Nigerian cinema space to have an identity, but also an identity that isn't monolithic. And this is where the S16 Film Festival comes in. You know, when we started, we were looking for people like us, and that's how we found each other. Abba and Mike, you know, we really linked up because we were looking for people like us. And the S16 Festival, I guess, is a more ambitious way to look for more people like us, you know, and to say that it's okay, because when we were coming up, nobody told us it was okay to be the way we were. So we decided that it would be great to have a platform to tell, you know, up and coming filmmakers that it's okay to be yourself and to express yourself.
That's amazing. Did you always want to be a filmmaker?
As far back as I can remember, yeah.
So where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Owerri.
Okay.
And in Owerri, nobody, I didn't know any filmmakers from Owerri growing up, which made it extra hard to even envision that path. But I figured I would be a writer first, or at least a published author, because, you know, growing up in the East, you had at least more of a precedence to be a writer or an author.
Yeah.
And then from being an author, I would become a filmmaker. That was the plan anyway, but it didn't work out that way.
Well, I think it didn't work out that way, but it worked out well for you.
Yeah, I guess you would say.
Well, thank you very much for your
pleasure.
time.
Reporting from Lagos, Nigeria, for Arise News is Adesua Giwa Osage.
Fantastic, Adesua.
Thank you.
First report we've seen on the morning show. Congratulations, you're doing well.
Good job.
Right.
Good job.
I mean,
well
I guess we should start with you,
Yeah.
your experience doing that fantastic reporting. I mean, I love the fact that you cover the festival, which is something that the Nollywood industry needs. I mean, behind the scene, we're talking about, you know, the creative industry and Afrif and, you know, how Nollywood should thrive more. Give us more.
Thank you very much. I had a fantastic time at the festival. I was actually got engrossed in the short films that they were showing because it's very different from what we normally see, and it reminded me of what the Vice President Shatima said at the event that Hannatu Musawa had, the Creative Economy Roundtable, where he said, yes, in Abuja, where he said that the Nigerian creative economy has been able to thrive in spite of the government, not because of it, right? And when you see these young entrepreneurs, young filmmakers, young artists who are doing something not because of the government, not because anyone is helping them, but because they've seen a space, they think there's a need for this, and they go ahead and they do it successfully. International recognition now, you know, so I think it was a very amazing thing to see, like, young people come together and create something like this.
Yes, I mean, it is quite important. I mean, this is your turf. Steve Ayorinde, you were among the jurors for the just concluded AMA, where Mami Wata, which is Nigeria's official selection for the Oscars, had 3 categories. You said makeup, Best Nigerian Film, and Best Cinematography. I mean, how amazing is that? Absolutely. In spite of government help, in spite of funding, they are doing so well. Yesterday, I attended the Whisker, you know, event, which is women, you know, in successful careers being awarded. And Mo Abudu was part of the, I mean, she was the keynote speaker, actually, and she was awarded. And she talked about her Ebony Life Creative Academy, which is a free academy sponsored by the Lagos State government. I mean, how amazing is that? These people can come and learn different programs and create their craft. I think this is what we need more. We need more indie festivals like this. We need more Afrif. We need AMA. Steve, over to you.
Absolutely. I mean, I like, you know, little creative stuffs like this, small film festivals. It's not every time that whether you go out of the country and you're dealing with the big festivals, you know, where the parties and the big conferences, you know, the star power, you know, take the shine of the products, the films. So whether you're doing that outside or here, where you have a few big film festivals like Afrif in Lagos, like Fidelis Dukas, Abuja International Film Festival, or even the government-owned festival like Zuma, you know, we just ended. When things like this come up, you know, we should applaud because it takes effort. It takes. You said it's the third edition.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it takes a lot of effort. I don't join the, the chorus of, oh, without government this and government that. I mean, it's an enterprise, especially when you have chosen to be arty about what you're doing, given the background that we have from Adesua. There's a deliberate niche, for this type of festival. And why we should applaud it is because you also have a big name in the international film circle that is part of it. That's CJ Fieri Obasi. Fieri, some of us know him, as, and he has done us proud as a Nigerian filmmaker, right from Sundance in January, where he won an award for Mami Wata, to FESPACO in Ouagadougou, where he also, did very well. And then at AMA Awards. AMA is important for him because the Mami Wata is the second film really that will be Nigeria's rep at the Oscars.
Right.
The only authentic one was in 2020 when Desmond Obiageli's, what's the name again? The Milkmaid. The Milkmaid represented Nigeria. It won the best film too, at the AMA Awards and proceeded, to the Oscars. By the way, the Oscar shortlisted film just came out, and our own Mami Wata made it. Yeah. Because if you recall that in 2019, when the Nigerian Oscar Selecting Committee picked Genevieve's, Genevieve's film, The Lionheart, it was dropped, at the shortlisting stage because it didn't meet the language criteria, which wasn't Genevieve's fault. No. It wasn't the fault of the movie. No. It was the fault of those who selected it for an award. Committee. Exactly, for an award. And that says clearly that it has to be largely made in non-English, dialogue. So,
but that was a very good, was very important for the Nigerian film industry as well, to understand what type of films would qualify. I mean, not that they should make films for the Oscars, but I mean, I thought that was really important for them. And I think The Milkmaid, how many percent was it? Was obviously
it was largely in Hausa. It was largely in Hausa.
Obviously.
I mean, what the Oscars won't say a percentage, they say significant chunk of it. And part of what Obasi is enjoying is the fact that I think about 2 years ago or so, I think it started with Moabudu Soloturi actually, when the Moabudu, the Ebony Life people, on the one hand, and on the other hand, the Oscar Selecting Committee made a case for Nigeria and for West African films to consider Pidgin English as a non-English, language, which is the point of, Mami Wata is largely in Pidgin English and a bit of English. If you've seen the film, you see that it's a beautiful work of art. So that's for me one of the reasons why this festival is important, because you will have young people look up to a CJ Obasi and then try to be like him. Not everybody will shoot like a Kunle Afolayan or like a Tunde Ekelani or like, all the other big people.
Okay,
Absolutely. Do your own kind of a thing, especially if it is hotel.
And that's what he said. He said that he wants young people to know that it's okay to be like this. That when he was coming up, there weren't lots of people he could look at to say, it's okay to do something that is just arty. It's okay to do something that's different from the norm, that's not mainstream. And so he's providing a platform for young artists who are experimental, who are, excited about the future of Nigerian creative industry. And I think we often talk about how some people say, the creative industry in Nigeria, media is the new oil, or like it's a new avenue, because there's a lot of soft power when we export our media, our music, our films. There's soft power that comes with it now. We're more recognizable, I would say, internationally because of some of the musicians who have gone abroad and taking our music with them and our culture with them. And I think it's important for Nigeria as a whole.
Absolutely. And, you talked about the Spirit Awards that Mami Wata also won. I think
they've just been nominated
yesterday. And you also talked about the 16 rules. Can you share with us some of those rules that they have for their festival?
Yes, because when I saw Surreal 16, I was like, what's this 16 about? And they said they've set 16 rules, which some are tongue-in-cheek, but they're about rules for how to create their art and the type of art they want to put forward. So one of the rules was that they would not have a shot of the Lekki Ikoyi Bridge as a shot to show like where the film is being, filmed or something, that you can have other things that show the location or show like the authenticity. You just don't show Lekki Ikoyi Bridge and everyone like, okay, you're in Lagos. And there are other things you can show to help somebody get settled when
I feel like it's more it's for the challenge, for them to be more creative in their craft.
Yeah, and it's also something that changes. So they said before, because of how To God Be the Glory is very popular in Nollywood, that they were like, we're not going to have that. But that's the theme of this year's To God Be the Glory. Wow. Is now the theme of this year's festival. Okay. So it's also something that, it's dynamic, and I think there's a lot to be said about young people who maybe originally were trying to move away from like the traditional or old styles or like old Nollywood, and now are seeing value in it and being inspired by it and trying to also, take that into their art and transmute it into something more modern or more different for the time.
Well, I think Nollywood has grown ever since it started. But we still do need more funding. Yesterday we talked about that as well, in the fact that, even just hiring writers to make sure that your film can even go to those big Hollywood budgets, So even to hire a really good writer to make your script, you still need that type of budget. And, they're saying that Nollywood has not even started, like we have not, scratched that surface. But we have to pat ourselves on the back. We don't have to make movies for the global, film industry to acknowledge that we're doing well. We have been making our own films our way, and we are the third largest film industry in the world. You have a face there. You always have that.
We don't need to wear a tag.
It's there.
That doesn't belong
but
to
it's
us.
there.
No, it's not that.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying
I want your argument. It would be nice to hear your argument.
This is an area that is touchy, that is a bit controversial. When they say that, people refer to a curious report that was attributed to UNESCO, which essentially was about there's a Hollywood, there's a Bollywood, and there's a Nollywood. For me, it's simply about the wood. What they now attributed to it is that Hollywood was the biggest in terms of quantity, followed by Bollywood, and then followed by Nollywood, given the number of films at 2,000 in a year that we're doing. But when you say big, that is not even correct. Because if you put everything together, Nollywood shoots more films, the type of films that we make, than any other country, than India, than Hollywood.
So what is your argument, Steve?
My argument is that we are not the third biggest film industry in the world. We're just, at the time that argument came up, we were just the third wood after Hollywood and Bollywood, and unlike the two.
So did you just say that if you look at it in terms of quantity, Nollywood turns out more movies than Hollywood? That's
Absolutely.
what you just said,
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I meant. Like we are in that ballpark range.
To use your logic, we will be number one. If it's
we are in the ball, meaning we have made movies.
Listen, we're an important filmmaking country.
Thank you.
But don't let us wear controversial togas that will do us no good. We're just, Nollywood is good, Nigerian film industry is doing well, but don't go with we're the third largest. We aren't. We're not in the top 10, but we can get there in terms of quality, in terms of revenue, in terms of investment, and these things are easy to check, actually.
And so that is what I'm talking about in terms of quality, in terms of revenue. We need more funding, and that's going to take a lot of time because if we have not even scratched the surface yet, it's a lot to work on. But
kudos to the guys out there who are making Nollywood proud.
Absolutely,
and it's stuff like this that take us there. People who are not confined, by the rules. I mean, there was a time that people thought that Only Afro-Lions figurine in 2009 started a new wave of Nollywood, but I moved away from that new wave, new versus old kind of a thing. Let the filmmakers breathe. So that they can be creative.
As much as they can.
Absolutely.
Well done, Adesua. As always, we look forward to more reports from you.
Thank you very much.
And different more reports. Well, all right.